Hi, and welcome to Japan This Week. A quick recap of some of the stories we've been following on the Japan Today news site for the week ending August 23rd, 2024. Department stores and shopping malls are setting up prayer rooms to meet the needs of Muslim customers and visitors.
The infamous Yasukuni Shrine was vandalized with graffiti again.
Prime Minister Kishida will spend more taxpayer money on trips before he leaves office in September.
And Japan's largest convenience store chain, 7-Eleven, may come under control of a Canadian company. Details coming up.
And vending machines in Japan. Are they as crazy as you think? We get Japan Today readers' thoughts in our Have Your Say section. I'm Jeff Richards.
And I'm Kamasami Kong.
Before we get to the news, just a quick thank you to commenters who left a note on our Japan Today page where we put up last week's podcast. SDCA said, I love the Deguchi sign next to Kishida, LOL. And RB Quinn chimed in, such an appropriate road sign, Deguchi. Thanks for your comments. For listeners out there who don't understand what we're talking about, Deguchi means exit in Japanese, and it's a picture of a Japanese road sign, kind of like a highway road sign.
All right. Well, it was very clever nonetheless. Congratulations, and thanks for the comments.
And now, let's get to some of the top headlines in Japan this week. In 2023, the influx of Muslim tourists to Japan exceeded 870,000, marking a significant increase from previous years. This, according to the Japan National Tourism Organization. So department stores and shopping malls in Japan are increasingly establishing prayer rooms to accommodate the rising number of Muslim visitors, particularly from countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Turkey. The Matsuya Ginza department store in Tokyo features a prayer room with foot washing facilities and prayer mats and attracting many users throughout the day. Aeon Mall, another big Japanese corporation that has malls, supermarkets, and convenience stores, has installed prayer rooms in 7 of its mall locations across various prefectures, with plans for further expansion to meet this demand. On a Japan Today story, a Malaysian visitor expressed gratitude for the availability of prayer rooms in Japan, highlighting the challenges of finding such spaces in urban areas.
Well, you know, Jeff, I've also seen one of these prayer rooms in Tokyo Midtown. They added the prayer room quite some time ago. But our readers had some interesting comments and discussion as well, and they came from all different directions. Some people say they thought this is a great idea. Others thought that some sort of courtesy should be extended to other religions as well.
Yeah, well, I think most of the comments boiled down to 2 basic ideas. People were sort of debating about human needs, the needs of humans, like toilets and bathrooms and whatnot, versus special rooms for religious choice. And of course, it just makes business sense, right?
Yeah, good business sense. But the comment that sums it up best comes from a reader who goes by the name of Burning Bush. Can other religions use them? Say I fancy saying a few Hail Marys before or after buying some overpriced brand bag. Would that be kosher?
Well, I see what Burning Bush is saying here. It's a little facetious, like a lot of our commenters, but his basic premise that other people use this too? It holds water for me because Japan is pretty notorious in malls and green spaces and parks for not having places to sit down and rest. If they're going to put in rooms, perhaps they should put in rooms where you can just take a load off or sit down. Or if you need or want to pray, you can pray. You can go into a prayer mat room within the room or something like that. Like, just open it up to everybody.
I think you said it perfectly.
Well, in crime news, the Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo has reported a second graffiti incident in 3 months. The shrine honors about 2.5 million, mostly Japanese, war dead, including convicted war criminals. Some countries view Yasukuni Shrine as a symbol of Japan's past militarism, leading to tension with neighbors, especially China and South Korea. Recent graffiti included Chinese words meaning, and this is a literal translation, dog toilet poo, militarism go to hell. In late May, a Chinese man allegedly spray painted the word toilet in red on a pillar at the shrine. Because of Yasukuni Shrine's connection to some of these convicted war criminals and war in general, when politicians in Japan, who often pay their visits and their respects to this particular shrine, readers aren't too fond of it, are they, Kong?
Well, among the many comments we received from our JT readers, this is not from the general population, but basically just our readers, there was really no great love or support among the many comments for Yasukuni, nor for the perpetrators of the graffiti.
Right.
One comment that kind of made the most sense was this one from Tora. Tora said, to catch the perpetrator, all they need to do is set up a camera and then match the photo with that of the person taken at the point of entry to Japan. And with AI, technology, etc., it should take just a few minutes. If they can't do that, or it has to be downloaded onto a floppy disk and then delivered by hand to immigration, what's the purpose of the photo and prints that we all have to go through every time we enter Japan? Good point, right?
Well, that is a good point. It does make you kind of go, why am I being photographed like that if they're not using it?
Well, I'm kind of surprised that a story about graffiti is one of our top stories in the crime section.
Well,
graffiti, one of the top stories.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about the graffiti. I think when our readers see Yasukuni in the news, they're all over it. Well, we reported last week that Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will be stepping down on September 27th. There are now 11 candidates running in the hopes of succeeding him. Before he steps down, however, Kishida plans to visit South Korea in early September and the U.S. in mid-September during the campaign period. Kishida has averaged about one overseas trip a month since becoming prime minister 3 years ago. He now aims to visit Seoul for a final summit with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to highlight improved ties between Japan and South Korea as a diplomatic achievement. And in the U.S., Kishida will address the UN General Assembly again, and potentially have a last meeting with President Joe Biden. Now, this is not the biggest political news story, but it's sure got commenters riled up. I think you can probably surmise what they're yakking about. Kong, why don't you give us a little hint?
Well, most of our commenters echoed the same thoughts as a reader who goes by the name of Rich. And Rich said, scamming the country out of a free shopping trip. And another comment that was very similar came in from Gary Penn. Incredible. These politicos have no shame when it comes to dipping their grubby mitts into the government cookie jar. He's leaving. What possible official purpose will this trip serve? I can see his successor making the trip soon after being appointed, but Kishida?
Yeah, both of these commenters make perfectly valid points, especially when you look at it from the point of view of a taxpayer in Japan.
Sure.
Why is he heading on these overseas trips that taxpayers are footing the bill for? I mean, what is he doing? Angling for a new job? Or, as you and I were joking about before, racking up the frequent flyer points? But then we realized, no, he's flying on government plane.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to taste some kimchi and bulgogi.
Maybe, and get a burger.
That could be when he goes to the UN.
Japan's largest convenience store chain, 7-Eleven, may be acquired by a Canadian company, Alimentation Couche-Tard. Couche-Tard operates multiple convenience store chains like Couche-Tard, Circle K, and On the Run, with over 14,000 stores worldwide. 7&I Holdings is the parent company of 7-Eleven, and it's a Japanese company, obviously. They are considering a buyout offer from them. The offer would need to be substantial, though, as 7&I Holdings' market cap exceeded 5 trillion yen on the Tokyo Stock Exchange this week. What's 5 trillion yen, Kong?
Ooh, good question. Let me ask Siri. Hey, Siri, what is 5 trillion yen in US dollars?
The answer is $34,403,272,438.79.
There you go, Jeff, just to be exact.
So about $34 billion. Wow,
Right.
That's a lot of zeros. Seven & I Holdings has been streamlining their operations, and that includes selling the department store chain Sogo and Seibu Company to a U.S. investment fund last year. Japan Today readers, however, were concerned about the potential impact on 7-Eleven's business in Japan, including its product range, service quality, and store locations, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Currently, 7-Eleven has 21,952, I'm just trying to be as specific as Siri, as a number of stores in Japan, according to its website. Japan Today readers are super concerned about this, aren't they, Kong?
Our readers love to spice things up with their sense of humor. And these first two comments confirm that they have a great sense of humor concerning this Canadian company. Osan America says, interesting company name. I could probably get into a fight if somebody called me that. How do you pronounce that again, Jeff?
Well, I think it would be alimentation couche-tard, which just basically means late night food.
Okay, well, another reader says, it does sound like a slur that someone would throw at someone else online.
Okay, depending on how you pronounce it, I guess. If you're using the hard D, it basically means convenience store.
On a more serious note, because 7-Elevens are so ubiquitous and part of our daily lives here in Japan, and because so many people use these convenience stores on a daily basis, we had many various comments ranging from fix this to fix that, don't change this, change that. Everybody had something to say about what they want the future 7-Elevens to be after couche-tard takes over.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't touch my Hyakuyen coffee. That's all I got to say.
And a reader who goes by the name of Patient Zero responding to another commenter asking if couche-tard could add anything to the 7-Eleven shopping experience said, no, definitely not. The couche-tard stores have nothing on Japan's 7-Eleven. There is nothing they could add, only detract. Say goodbye to the awesome sandos and the other meals that hard-working salarymen and women rely on when they come home late at night. I cannot see how couche-tard could possibly satisfy the Japanese market.
One thing I don't understand about all these comments is many people think that couche-tard is going to come in and change everything in Japanese 7-Eleven. So they're going to make it a French-Canadian store in the middle of Japan. It's just a business idea, right?
Well, I don't know. How do the couche-tard konbini stores in Canada compare with 7-Elevens here in Japan?
I couldn't tell you that. I've never been to one.
Well, don't you think they're going to look at every aspect of the operation and try to figure out how they can make cuts so they can make more profits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not making sweeping changes, but just sort of clamping down on things. Stop selling this because it costs too much money to make. Stop selling this because they're not earning enough profit off it. Yeah, I guess I can see that.
And that's basically what all of our readers and commenters had to say as well. We invite you to check out the Japan Today website and read that story about 7-Eleven. This next story is about vending machines, and you've got to know that here in Japan, vending machines are everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. And some of them have some unusual products inside.
On Japan Today, we have a section called Have Your Say. And in Have Your Say, we ask questions a couple of times a week about what our readers think about certain subjects. In this week's Have Your Say, we asked this question: what are some of the strangest things you have seen sold in vending machines in Japan? I've seen some pretty strange stuff. I'm pretty sure, Kong, you've seen some strange stuff. What did our readers have to say?
Well, our readers chimed in with all kinds of unusual things that they've seen. Well, one of our readers said the prices go up to as much as 3,000 yen. For a stag beetle. A lot of protein there if you put a little chocolate on top.
Diet for a new America or diet for a new Japan.
They also had scorpions, grasshoppers, hairy spiders, and one person said they even saw eggs and live eels.
Live eels? Come on.
Live eels,
How do you keep an eel alive in a vending machine?
The vending machines here are unusual. What else can I say? They can't possibly be live.
They put a lot of research and development into these things, so who knows?
Other things people have found in the vending machines: hamburgers in Osaka.
Yeah, why not, right?
Porno mags.
Okay, yeah, it's a porno country.
Yeah. High school girls' uniforms and used underwear.
Ugh. Oh, okay. I've heard about these before, but
anyway, I'm looking at a picture here that you took. I guess it's a vending machine near your place in which they sold insects. Is that correct?
That's right, by Yokohama Bay Stars Stadium. They've got little cans of insects and bugs, and they're not that cheap either, right? They're about 300 yen to 800 yen for a can of protein snacks. And that was a quick recap of the news from Japan this week for Friday, August 23rd, 2024. Thanks to the Japan Today editors for curating the stories, as always. And thanks to all of you, our listeners, for joining us. You can find links to all of the news stories we've just mentioned in the show notes below. And since the news from Japan never stops, you can, and you should, visit the Japan Today website anytime for all the latest stories. Of course, you can also find us on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. From the Japan Today newsroom at G Plus Media in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards.
And I'm Kamasami Kong.
Join us again next week when we return with a quick recap of Japan's biggest
and interesting and unusual
stories. Sayonara, folks. I hope it doesn't get hot. I'm sweating.
Like a what?
I'm sweating like a grandfather at church.
Amen.